Very good. Welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick, and we are pleased to welcome in, that's right, you might as well play Crash into me because that's what he did. A man once described as a rolling ball of butcher knives. That's a hell of a description for a person. He is Cliff Harris, newly minted Pro Football Hall of Famer, fellow OBU alum, and Captain Crash himself. Cliff, what is up, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing great, Patrick. Thank you very much. It was quite an experience in Canton. As the days went on, the more excited I became, and when I got the gold jacket, it was just a great experience. There were so many of the Hall of Famers around, and they were all congratulating me, and to be up there with those guys was just really a lifetime experience.
Yeah,
had a lot of friends up there too.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Right, because you've won a lot of honors, you've been inducted into a lot of Hall of Fames, but the gold jacket's just different. Right, when they put that on you, it's just, I've got to imagine as you come almost an indescribable feeling, right?
Well, I mean, when you think about when I think about it, thought about it, and all the players, I mean, going back to my when I was a kid in grade school and junior high and high school, I mean, and to think of the great players that I watched when I was a young kid, and then to think about how great they were, and then to be a part of a elite group like that was overwhelming experience. But it was particularly from coming from Ouachita Baptist University and a free agent, and for the Dallas Cowboys, and having 120 rookies there my rookie year, and then the veterans came in, and I won a starting job that first year. So it was I've had a blessed life. I'll say that.
It's interesting because I was talking about earlier now. And you know this, I mean, the stadium at OBU is named after you at this point, and I'm sure you've gotten to watch some of their broadcasts, but they're doing, they're putting together Division I level streaming broadcasts of football games. So if OBU's got a kid that is on the radar of NFL scouts, they can just tune into the broadcast and watch them and really get to evaluate them. But how the hell do you get evaluated as a Division II player? How do you get evaluated back then in 1970 when film's not as prevalent, and how do the Dallas Cowboys find you?
Well, I can tell you a great Hall of Famer, Gil Brandt, had played an incredible role at that time. He was reaching out and talking to small college coaches all over the United States. He actually, brought in basketball players and soccer players, and even went, Tony Frisch was a soccer player in Austria, and to find out the information from the small colleges and bring in those, and have scouts everywhere, all over the United States, trying to find the players like me to try out for the Cowboys. He was a genius at and he played such a genius at finding talent like that, and then he also helped me at another time when I I had to go to basic training in the middle of my my rookie year when
Right.
I made the starting lineup, and he helped me come back on to talk to the general in the Army, and went down and saw him in San Antonio, and met him in a, in the Fort Sam Houston, and talked him into letting me come in and play on weekends while I was, and which was just unbelievable while I was in basic training.
Right. And that's interesting because, you come in and you beat out some veterans. You mentioned you step right in as a rookie. You beat out some guys. You're an undrafted free agent, and you get in there and you make the starting lineup. Then, as you mentioned, you have to go to basic training. So that kind of curtailed a little bit of your season. But what kind of pressure is that, or is that pressure when you show up as an undrafted free agent and you get into camp and suddenly they're like, hey, we're going to start you. You're going to be the guy. Is that a different level of pressure, or is that no pressure at all because you didn't come with a first-round draft pick type of mantle on you?
Well, I went to training camp, and we were with the college's designation as the college has kind of reversed in these last years. D2 was it was D2, D3, then NAIA. We were an NAIA school, that's
right.
Now the smallest division school, and but so I had never have competed against or even seen. I was a big Arkansas Razorback fan, and my grandfather used to take me to the games. And there's another story I'll tell you in a second about Lance Allworth. But to see, I didn't know what to expect when I went out to Thousand Oaks, California, the California Lutheran College, where the Cowboys had their training camp. I didn't know what to expect about competing with these guys they drafted guys in the second round. Denton Fox was an All-American at Oklahoma, and at Texas Tech, and Charlie Waters was drafted in the sixth round, and Mark Washington, and there were a lot of really good players that I just didn't know what to expect. But when I got out there, I think that I recognized that, man, they're not giants; they're just guys, and it's kind of what I've learned over the years in pro football is, hey, these are not giants; they're just guys, and I can compete with these guys, and I actually can beat some of them. Well, maybe beat more than some, and maybe can beat all of them, and so I just stayed at it really hard and focused, and luckily we played some rookie games out on the coast out there, and played the Rams and the Chargers and the Raiders out there, their rookie teams, because it was a strike year. It was just a perfect timing for me. It was a strike year for the NFL,
mm-hmm.
and so the veterans didn't come into camp. And so the rookies were out there for a long time. We were out there for 5 weeks or 6 weeks before the veterans came in, and they had a chance to see me in game conditions when we played those other rookie teams. And then the best came in.
Right, but in the end, because of all of that, you got to beat out the vets, and you were the guy. Did you? Captain Crash and the rolling ball of knives and all of that.
Yeah.
Did you kind of feel the need because of the NAIA background and the small school and all that? Did you feel the need that you just had to go and just play with your hair on fire the whole time, or was that your style anyway?
Well, I think that there's a couple of things that I think that the Landry flex defense was a complicated defense. And I got it. And I think Coach Landry knew that I understood and could. I played it differently and, really attacked the line of scrimmage more than safeties did during my era.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that, Coach Landry saw that I knew his system, and he knew that I got it in his system and could play it and make it work for him in my position. And on top of that, I went up and was making tackles at the line of scrimmage that hadn't been done before by other safeties really during that era. They were more play center field and intercept passes, and but I attacked this, and he knew that. So I had a unique experience and or a unique ability, and I recognized plays very quickly and knew the difference when it was going to be a pass or a run.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you another story about Coach Landry telling me not to make a mistake, essentially, or I was he was gonna find somebody else to play my spot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and look, you mentioned that, right? In that day and age, it was a lot of, you mentioned the safeties are playing deep. Nowadays, almost every defense has at least one of the safeties rolling up towards the line of scrimmage to get into the run game. You don't see a lot of too high or even, too high safeties anymore.
Yeah.
Some teams are doing it a little bit more now, but you hadn't seen it in a while. I guess in some way you're kind of the godfather of that idea of rolling a safety down and having them stick their nose in, especially in the run game.
Well, I think, the game has changed so much from my time to, the fundamentals are still there and the basics, but it's turning into more of a passing game as you have probably seen over when the games when they're having 50 and 60 passes a game when we had 20 or 30 and more of a run oriented game, but you still have to be able to play the safety position and protect essentially the deep passes and protect your cornerbacks. But I knew how to recognize, and I think that was another gift that I was given, is that I knew how to recognize and see and diagnose a play. I played quarterback in high school, and I knew how to diagnose a play quickly and determine whether could determine whether it was the difference between a pass or a run. Sometimes I wouldn't, but
well, you got
it.
You got it right most of the time. Cliff Harris, former Cowboys defensive back and newly minted Pro Football Hall of Famer. You mentioned Drew Pearson at one point. I've got to imagine you and he were kind of the two guys that everyone kept pointing at as these guys need to be in the Hall of Fame. We need to make this happen. You got the call, then he got the call. How cool was that for you to hear his name getting called?
Well, it was just great. Drew was an incredible player, a clutch receiver, and deserved so much to be in the Hall of Fame. He was really, really upset the year that I went in 2020 because he was anticipating. He thought he was going in and had a little breakdown, and then I was happy for him the next year in 2021 that he got the call from David Baker, and so we ended up going into the Hall of Fame, being inducted on the same weekend.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to be with him and go in with him, and I saw him as a rookie, and he was a standout receiver with a lot of courage, and he was a skinny kid and still is. And a free agent. So he and I both had, and we're going to be at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, David Basil's in September, October maybe. I don't know the exact date on it, but we're going to be there together to do the Touchdown Club.
And of course,
in October.
Your friend and mine, Rex Nelson, is one of the guys that's on that group as well. Speaking of, and last couple things for you, Cliff, Buddy Bob Benson, who I had the honor of getting to meet when I got to college right before he retired, was the guy that brought you in and turns you into or helped develop you into what you would eventually become as the coach at OBU. You have been very good to your alma mater, and obviously I mentioned the stadium's named after you. They just rebuilt the thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful facility. Why is that important to you, that you remain in contact and helping with what Ouachita Baptist is doing?
Well, I think it's important that you give back to what has been good to you, and Ouachita, actually Rex Nelson's dad and my dad were college roommates.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and his dad played football together. And so I've got a long history, and I've got my sister went to Ouachita, and I've got a grand niece that's going to Ouachita this year, a great basketball player, Caroline Harris, and you can all come out and watch her play. And I just think that it's important, if you've been given a gift, to give back and give back to the people that helped you and were a part of your life and significant. And Buddy Bob Benson was such a great person and
Mm-hmm.
coach and motivator for me, because I knew that if I could make it through his practices, I could make it through anything, because he was so tough and hard on the players. But boy, he made a winner out of you. You didn't come back. He had a saying, there's a fine line between winning and losing. And we knew what that line was. It was fine.
Yeah. Last thing for you, Cliff. Tell me about how much are you keeping up with what's going on, and what do you think about the current state of the Cowboys? Obviously, here in Shreveport, we're only 3 hours from Dallas, and we've got a ton of Cowboys fans that listen every day. Tell me what you think about the current state of the boys.
Well, I'm a big fan of Dak Prescott. I think that and what makes him a great quarterback to me, more than just the passing ability. He broke his ankle and he came back, and what a game that was.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, and we almost won that game, and we're gonna have a good year this year. I think we're going to get things on track. The defense is coming around. I think that you saw so much excitement. They had turnovers, and I'm really excited about what they're going to be doing on defense. And I just think that there's something unique about the Dallas Cowboys, having in their history a winning tradition, and starting with my era guys that and they know what it means to go to a Super Bowl and what it does for the city and the town and the country. But I think there's a fire ignited that is going to burn bright this year, I hope.
Would you rather be playing in today's era when there's 50 passes going up and you can't put your hands on a receiver, or did you prefer to play when you did?
Well, I don't know. I think I would have to adjust. Yeah, that's the thing that you have to do in life. But boy, that the rules. I maximized the rules during my era, and man, they really make it hard on the defensive backs, the pulling and pushing and shoving and not being able to. I hit receivers hard because I knew that. It's a simple equation. If you're running an inside route on me and you're going to get busted when you come across the middle, don't run it. And that's what I used to tell some of these guys. It's just logical. Hey, don't come in the middle if you don't want to get hit. And it makes it easy for the cornerback because they got outside routes. So I don't know. Today's time would be a challenge. I think, I don't know. I'm glad I played when I did.
Yeah, that was
the perfect era for me.
That was the crash zone over the middle for wide receivers. You didn't want to be in there. Hey, Cliff, I tell everyone all the time that only because of you am I the second most well-known OBU alum. So thank you for that. I would be the most well-known alum, but I can't beat you out, my friend. Yeah, maybe one day I'll get that. I think they're going to name the toilet in the press box for me. I think I've got that coming up.
We need to get a visitors locker room, dressing room out there. That's what we're working on right now.
Nice.
So all the Ouachita people that want to contribute to Ouachita, or we can finalize and get some new stands on the visitor side. So,
That's,
Patrick, you can put your name on that.
There you go.
You just raise some money for it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, congratulations. Seriously, I got to meet you a few years ago when we were both there for I think it might have been a Battle of the Ravine game. I'm not sure. And you're so gracious, and you do so much for the alma mater, and I do appreciate that. Congrats on the Hall of Fame nod. It is awesome. And, look, we'll catch up with you down the stretch, talk some more Cowboys.
Good deal, Patrick. We'll do that, and I hope to see you at one of the games at Ouachita. I'm going to be there this weekend.
Oh, beautiful. I wish I could. I might. I actually don't have this weekend off. I have next weekend off, so my schedule's not working out. I got to – you know what? Maybe I'll just skip the Northwestern State game. They don't need anybody to call their games. I'll just go back to Arkadelphia.
Northwestern, so that's good.
Yeah,
well, you got to do what you got to do.
That's correct. Good. Yep, that's who pays the checks. Cliff, thank you so much for your time, man. We really do appreciate it, and congrats. Cliff Harris, Captain Crash, former Dallas Cowboys defensive back and newly minted Pro Football Hall of Fame.